Welcome back to Page to Picture, the podcast where books come to life on screen and in conversation. I am your host, Tiff, and today Kim is out due to feeling sick, but I am not alone. I am here with author Megan Mary, the author of the Witches of Maple Hollow series. Megan, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. We are so excited to have you.
Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm so super excited. So, first to start off, I would love to ask you about the writing and the creative process. We believe that every author has an origin story. So, we want to know what yours is. What inspired you to start writing?
Okay, so this particular series, I was inspired by a dream, of course. So I started writing at about 10 years ago. I had just returned from a bucket list trip with my husband to Scotland. And I'd always wanted to go there. And when I came back, I had this vivid dream. And I had always been fascinated by dreams, but this one really stuck out to me because it had a talking cat in it that had a lisp, and he told me his name was Wixby, and I was like, "Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I have to do something." So, I initially thought it was gonna be a children's book, and I started writing just a sweet story about Wixby, and then I kind of set it down, and I didn't return to it. I thought about it over the years, and I
Hmm.
painted pictures of him, and I did other things, but I didn't return to the story until many years later when I started to have a medical crisis, and I was going through this dark period, and I started doing a lot of inner work and shadow work and meditating, and the dream work came back
Hmm.
in. And when I started listening to my dreams, all of a sudden I remembered about the story, and I realized that I had to go back to do the story. And when I did, it took on a whole different life of its own. And the dreams became part of the story, and Wixby became a secondary character to Hannah's journey, which really was a reflection of my own.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love it when people say that they have dreams and then they just kind of take it and roll with it and make it to this huge story. And I think that's how you know you've got a good one is when
Hmm.
it came to you in a dream. So, oh, that's so exciting. So, both your street team and I had pretty much the same questions.
Okay.
So, we're going to get into it. So, the first question is what sparked the idea for the Dream Hunter series, which I think you just kind of answered it was the
Hmm.
dream. But, like, I want to know when you had that dream, like, what was your thought process when you went back to writing it? Like, did it just kind of was it just all these ideas in your head that just kind of flowed into it, or did you kind of did you plan it out and tweak things? Like, how was that process?
Hmm. I work in Scrivener, so I don't necessarily have to have a linear trajectory, and I write in short spurts, like 500 words at a time,
Mhm.
and then I end up with this whole box of puzzle pieces, and I find a way to put it together.
Oh.
There's 13 dream scenes in the first book. Each book has a lot of its own dream scenes, and some of them are my own, and some of them are fictional, and some of them are a
Mhm.
combination. And I really just like to see where the story's going to take me. I'm
Yeah.
more of a pantser in that way. I understand the concepts of the climax and the unraveling, and particularly with mystery. It's, to me, so much more complicated to write, especially
Yeah.
as a first time author, because you know what the solution's gonna be, but you have to unravel it backwards so that people don't. And
Yeah.
that is much harder than, I think, just writing a drama or just writing a story, because you can't reveal it all, but you want them along for the ride.
Yeah. Like, you're trying not to reveal too much, but it's hard when you know the outcome.
When you know.
I get it. I get what you're saying. So, can you tell us about your research process for the trilogy's supernatural elements?
Mhm. Yes, so I'm in the process of receiving several degrees in metaphysical sciences. And so I've received my BMSc. I'm in the process of getting the master's, and I'm on docket to get the PhD after that. And so I've been immersed in a ton of metaphysical studies while I'm writing the trilogy. And
Mhm.
I wasn't new to a lot of this stuff. It was my passion since I was a teenager, but this reignited and reinforced those beliefs and interests. And so I really say that anybody that shops at a metaphysical store is going to love this trilogy because
Mhm.
everything that is in a metaphysical store is touched on in the trilogy. And I actually have this long list of metaphysical themes that I share with metaphysical stores because I want them to see all the different elements that are in there. Of course, dreams is the biggest one,
Mhm.
but all of the trilogy takes place at Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of astronomical and celestial influences that happen throughout the book. There's also, of course, a lot of spell work and magic, but
Mhm.
there's also alchemy and crystals and parapsychology elements like psychokinesis and telepathy. There's time travel, a lot of working on the hara lines, the ley lines, the chakras, divination, multiple methods of divination and scrying and rituals.
Yeah.
And so it really runs the gamut. Everything that I'm studying, I'm putting into the works.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And so you know what you're talking about when you're writing about all of this, and I love it. That's awesome. And you've been doing it for since you were a teen? You've been, like, just studying it
Yeah,
and
one of the first books that I got on dreams was when I was a teenager, and it was Stephen LaBerge's book on lucid dreaming. And I was so
Mhm.
fascinated by lucid dreaming, and I wanted to be able to do it. And so I read it front to back and did practice the methods and was able to achieve it. And so then I was really excited about that. And I was always studying ancient pagan mythologies since I was a
Mhm.
teenager, all of the pre-Christian Celtic mythologies
Yeah.
and the old ways, as people call them. I've always been, um, really advocating for that. And I've always been very intrigued by anything that was esoteric or occult. So it's just evolved over time.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. That's really
The
awesome. So, what character was the most challenging to write and why?
hardest for me are definitely the villains, because I really want this work to be soul inspiring and
Mhm.
magical and wonderful and enlightening. And so to have to present a character that's going to do something bad and be evil was really hard for me.
Yeah.
And I also, even when I tried to do it, he ended up seeming very Scooby Doo and PG ish, because I
Mhm.
just didn't have it in me to invoke that energy. I didn't want that.
Yeah, like, it's hard to have, like, an idea of how your books and characters are, and then to have to write someone the complete opposite is, like
Yes.
yeah, that's a struggle, I can imagine.
So that was hard.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes villains are really easy for people to write, and then sometimes villains are really hard for people to write, and I'm like, I can't write villains. Like, because I'm trying to dabble in some writing and stuff, and writing villains is hard, I can't get in that mindset, so
Right.
I get
Yep.
it. So what themes do you hope readers take away from the trilogy? Just overall, the vibes?
I really want it to be empowering
Yeah.
and inspirational, educational and entertaining, but also just mystically a guide for people who are embarking on their own spiritual journey and are feeling alone in that and are wondering, struggling maybe with what they're going through and looking for hope and looking for that light in the darkness and understanding that they're not alone in that and that they really do have their own inner power that they can harness.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that because nowadays you don't really see a lot of books with those themes. People trying to like authors giving away that type of takeaway with their books. It's very rare. So I applaud you for writing that because that's amazing. I think we need more books like that in the
I
world, I'll
agree.
just say. So, can you share
Thank you.
any behind the scenes insights or like any scenes that didn't make the cut or anything like that?
There were so many scenes that got cut. There were so many dreams that got cut. But I think one of the more interesting behind the scenes stories was that, it's particularly for the dream mirrors, I was in the process of writing it. And in this book, a little bit of a spoiler, there is a fire
Mhm.
and no one is injured, but it does happen. And in my real life, I experienced a house fire
Oh my gosh.
while I was writing it. And thankfully, to my husband's quick actions, our house was saved and my our cats were safe. But we were displaced for a while, and it was very traumatic. And if that had gone a different way, we would have lost everything, including the books and the cats and everything. And so it
Yeah.
was really dramatic for me to have that happen. And not only that, but it was the morning of the planetary alignment. And so
Mhm.
there were so many things that were reflecting what was happening in the book. It was almost like I did create this world, or I remembered this world, and that a lot of this was happening in a parallel reality.
Yeah.
But it was also the synchronicities were so thick that you couldn't make it up.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad that you guys are okay with that fire because
Yes.
my friend recently had one a couple months ago, and luckily her husband thought fast and got her and her kids out, and they were fine. Their kitchen was a crazy mess, but
Mhm.
it's scary. It's very scary. She called me. I was like, "I'm coming over," and I went over there, and I like it was a whole thing, but yeah, it's very traumatic. So, and I think about it a lot, and it didn't even happen to me, so I can imagine
Yeah.
how that feels.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite fall or Halloween tradition? And there's a lot of them, so
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see.
There's so many things, but definitely pumpkins is one of my obviously favorite things, which is why I centered the whole book around a magical pumpkin patch,
Mhm.
and why the first book really revolves around her discovering the pumpkins. And I reinvented the tradition of carving the pumpkins
Mhm.
into a little bit more of a there's a new magical version of that in book 1. And
Yeah.
I do still love doing that every year, and I like to observe a lot about the Celtic traditions of celebrating Samhain and the turning of the wheel of the year and honoring the loved ones who have passed on in the year prior and carving the pumpkins in a significant way.
Mhm.
And I also really love costumes and any kind of period clothing. I give me an opportunity to dress up and I'll be there.
Yeah.
So I that's why I put a masquerade ball in the last book, and it's also why I always dress up every year. And for me, the and I talk about this a lot in book 3, the costumes are really reflections of my existence. And similar to me having a difficulty writing a villain, I don't normally wear gory or disturbing costumes because I
Yeah.
don't want to bring that energy in.
Yeah.
Wear what I aspire to be, or aspects of myself, or alternate dimensional parts of me. So,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Have you ever been this is a little off topic, but have you ever been to, like, a Ren fair or
yes.
anything of that nature?
Hmm.
I'm going to my first one this
Mm,
year, and I'm super excited.
yes.
I thought a lot about what to dress up as, and when you said that you didn't wanna dress up as anything because 'cause I've seen people at Ren Fair, like, online, and they'll dress like, they've got, like, bloody stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
weapons and whatever, and I'm like, "I don't wanna bring that energy into it." And then so I'm like, "I'm gonna be a fairy." So
Yes.
and I
And that's
just thought of
exactly.
that and
Yeah. And a lot of people think, oh, you love Halloween. I do too. And then they think, oh, you're going to love this. And it's like, no, that's not
yeah.
exactly what I like about it. That, it's more the history of it and the
Mhm.
mystical aspects and the magic aspects and the spiritual aspects, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of the goriness, and Kim would if she was here, she would agree too. She's not a huge, like, blood and gore kind of fan,
Okay.
but we love Halloween because we love to dress up as, like, little characters from, like, TV shows that me and Kim like, and I know that she was bringing up, like, Bridgerton stuff, like, we're dressed up as the Bridgerton girls, and
Mm,
yeah, we like
mhm,
the cute, cozy things, so
mhm,
I get it. I get what you're saying.
mhm.
All right. So now what we are going to get into some personal reflection here. So the first question is what advice would you give to other writers or anyone who's aspiring to be a writer?
So definitely do the work up front on the imposter syndrome because it's going to stop you from achieving your full potential and getting out there and doing it. And one of the most important things that one of my mentors said to me that really kicked me into gear when I started was, do it before you're ready. You're
Yeah.
never going to be ready. It's never going to be perfect. Trust me. It can be out there and published, and you're still going to read it and find something wrong with it or think of something, oh, I should have done this. But
Hmm.
you're never going to get it out there if you ruminate like that. And you also have to just do that inner work to be able to shine your light on your own and not compare yourself and
Hmm.
not judge yourself so that you can offer that uniqueness out in the world.
Yeah. Do you have any like methods or like ways to kind of help with the imposter syndrome? Like someone that's feeling like when they look at their own work or if they're writing something, they're like, this is just horrible. Like this is the worst thing anyone's ever written ever. Like, do you have advice for someone that's doesn't know really how to get away
Yeah.
from that?
I did listen to this one audiobook, Your Best Writing Life,
Mhm.
and that really did help me, but I think what it comes down to is that it's a difficult lesson to learn, but to know that it's not gonna be for everybody.
Yeah.
Because as an introvert and as a soft person, it was very difficult for me to come out and out of my shell and into the public eye, and then when I did, I thought, but it's so nice and cozy and inspiring. Everybody's gonna like it. How can they not? And I
Yeah.
was shocked when I got reviews where people were picking it apart and thought it was too cerebral, or it was too slow, or it was cliche and so there's always gonna be the critics.
Yeah.
And that is something that you have to arm yourself for, but you will get more used to it. After a couple months, I was just kinda like, "Oh, okay," because I was starting to get these other reviews where they were saying, "I have never read something like this, and this touched me in a way I can't explain, and I'm never gonna be the same, and I'm gonna tell everybody about this." And even one of those was enough to keep me going and
Yeah.
reinforced what I knew to be true. And so you have to just set that aside. I have degrees in English, but I only took one creative writing course ever, and it was in poetry. So I never took a course in writing a novel. I didn't
Yeah.
even know what the different parts were. I don't even really read fiction. I read nonfiction and I watch a lot of movies. So I came in very green and not really knowing the structural aspects, but knowing that I had a lot of creativity to bring to the table. And that just shows you that anybody can do it. It's the ideas that matter. And that's why you hire an editor and that's why you get beta readers. You get better the more you do it. And
Yeah.
you just have to keep writing. You just have to start somewhere and keep writing.
Yeah. Just keep writing. You hear that, authors, aspiring authors, everyone out there who thinks they should write a book, just write a book, keep writing. And don't listen to the negativity because from what you said, it sounds like the positivity definitely outweighs the
It
negative
does.
feedback. Yeah.
It
So
does. It
amazing
does.
advice. I love it. So, what's next for you? What do you have anything in the works? Do you plan on writing a different series or what's going
Yes.
on?
So book 3 is coming out in 25 days. Yeah, on
So
October
exciting.
3rd, and that'll be, all 3 books having come out in 365 days, plus each an audiobook.
Cool.
After that, I'm taking a break,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be working on my master's in metaphysics, and then as part of my PhD program, I will be writing a thesis that's going to become the basis for my nonfiction book on dreams. And that's really what I was sitting down to write when this story said, no, I have to go first.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to the nonfiction book, and it's going to be all about dream work. And I do have an idea for another series, but I'm going to not put myself under such a time crunch this time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give myself a lot of time.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I love that you're gonna take a break, a well-deserved break after writing a trilogy and focusing on school and all of that amazing stuff. So,
Yes.
love it. Do you want to give us just a quick like blurb or provide some of the tropes that are in it just so that way they know what the book is about?
Yeah, I'm happy to read the blurb. Do you want me to do it for book one or for book two? Which one are you?
Whichever one you want. I think probably book 1 because I know a lot of
Okay.
our listeners, they love to start with they don't
Okay.
like to hear about, like, book 2 because then they're like, "Well, what about book 1?" And I'm like,
Right.
"I don't, I'm sorry."
It's hard. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with book one, which is The Dream Haunters, which is this one.
I'll love the cover.
Yeah, thank you. And so this is about, they're all about Hannah Sky.
Mhm,
She's a young woman in search of meaning. She receives a cryptic letter from her missing and eccentric Aunt Julia. And she's been having this recurring dream about a pumpkin patch all her life, and she doesn't know what it means. So that unfolds into her spiritual journey to a mysterious island of eternal autumn called Maple Hollow, where she discovers the mystical Sky Manor and her magical family legacy. Haunted by shapeshifters bent on trapping people in their nightmares, she, with the help of wise villagers and feline companions, including a talking cat dream guide named Wixby,
mhm.
must solve the riddle, unlock her powers, and dive into the dream dimensions to save her aunt by Halloween night when the veil is thinnest. So, this is the first of the metaphysical mysteries of magic, and it blends spells, music, and dreams into a vortex of secret societies and spiritual inheritance. And the tropes are really coming of age, good versus evil, race against time, found family, discovered powers, wise old mentors, all of
Mhm.
those different good tropes.
Yeah, I love those tropes. I love a good versus evil and a found family trope, and I know a lot of people that would honestly really love this book. I'm very excited to share with everyone this podcast, and I have some friends that I'm already thinking about messaging them and being like, "You have to read this book because this sounds like this is your book for sure." So, I'm very
Awesome.
excited. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So, that wraps up the episode for today, but before we go, where can our listeners find you on social media or if you have a website? We'll put it in the description below, but if you wanna let us know here as well where they can find you.
Yes. So it's meganmary.com, Meganmary. And there you'll find all of my books. There's merchandise, all of the audio books. I even sell a themed dream journal that you can purchase and keep track of your dreams while you are reading the trilogy, as well as these key earrings, which are
Those are
the keys to
cute.
Sky Manor. And then on my site, you'll also find that I have self paced dream decoding courses. You
Mhm,
can you can schedule time with me where I do dreams, one-to-one dream sessions. I also have 90-day dream empowerment programs where we work closely together over 90 days and on a variety of your dreams and meditations. And then I also have my podcast, Women's Dream Enlightenment Podcast, which you can find on all different podcast platforms, and on there, we talk about dreams, deep discussions, and women's stories of spiritual awakening. And so the books are available directly through my site, but they're also available wide. So on Amazon, Kobo, Google, Apple, anywhere that you get your books. And you can
mhm.
also get them in libraries and, and request them at your indie bookstores as well.
Awesome. I love
Yes.
that. I love that you offer so much more on your website too.
Thank you.
I'm gonna check it out because you said the dream journal thing, and I was like, "That I would get that." Because I
Okay.
need to start keeping track of my dreams because they're a little weird. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Join the
I
club.
am definitely gonna I'm definitely gonna look at your website, and I'm probably gonna purchase your books, and I'm going to purchase the journal. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for being here and for us having you on our podcast. Megan, this was fun. You had me in this vibe of like, now I wanna learn more about my dreams because like when I was younger, I used to think about like are my dreams like this, and now talking to you again, it's like kind of turned it on again of me being like, well, maybe I want to discover more about that whole side of me that I kind of just ignore. So thank you,
I'm glad to
honestly,
hear
for
that.
being here. I'm very happy to have you here and just taking the time to talk to me today. I'm sorry that Kim couldn't be here, but I know that she would have loved this conversation too because she's also very interested in her dreams and stuff, and she tells me about it, and I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what that means. Why are your teeth falling out? I have no idea."
Oh,
It's like a
yes, I
whole
have
thing.
a blog about that. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell her about the website too, and I'm like,
Yes.
you and I both need to get on this website and learn more, so thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yep,
I
and I'm happy to
appreciate
come
it.
back on again when she's feeling
Yes.
better, and we can talk about that as well, and, yeah, I mean, I'm the next thing I'm concentrating on is trying to get these made into movies, so, well,
Yeah. Oh
there'll be
my
a
gosh,
lot
that'd be
more.
so awesome. Who would you
Yes.
cast?
I don't know.
That's something I always like to think of as authors, like, who they'd cast in their books because I find them
Yeah.
so interesting, their
No, I
choices, but
haven't gotten that far yet, but
yeah.
when I write it, I see it as a movie, so
Yeah.
that's really where I'm going next with it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, if it is a movie, let us know, and we will do the red carpet interviews for you
Of
because
course.
that'll be awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I've said it multiple times, but really, truly thank you. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review wherever you listen. And you can follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at official page to picture for book to screen updates and behind the scenes content and lovely author interviews. Megan, is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
Listen to the whispers of your dreams, and I'm glad to
Yes.
hear that you're gonna start doing that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Until next time, guys, have a great day and bye.